Okay, so it looks like we might be live. I just want to make sure everything would be the same officially on the Twitch channel. So let's see. Okay, yep. I see we got a feed. Stuff is going on. We got the chat wall happening. Hey, chat wall, are you guys alive in there? Do we have more people coming up, or do we need to wait a little bit to see if we got more people? Oh, wow. Okay, so we do have more people. Okay, so yes. All right, now the flood is really coming in. All right, so with all that said, let's go ahead and get things started. So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another crazy episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, where this time I got some very fascinating stories to talk about. However, I am not going to be doing this alone. Yes, I actually do have a special guest star with me, and this is actually someone who I've considered a friend for quite a while now, and this is someone that I cannot wait to introduce you guys, and I'm sure he's going to come in and we'll add in a lot of fun to we're gonna have a lot of fun with this guy. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to Pokematic. Pokey, what is up, my man?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do you know Dr. Nemo's password?
Where's my dad?
The password is KWB811.
Oh.
Remember the password. I'm never in my clubhouse getting high. Super vloggers. Nobody wishes I would die. Super vloggers. But here I come like a bomb. Everybody. Sorry, this is a Christian server. No swearing.
This is a Christian server? Really? Well, that's...
You never say what the... You always say what the fridge.
Good point. I mean, I did bring in people who do swear for me, so there is that. But other than that, how are you doing, dude?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Nah, I've been doing awesome, honestly. Things have been going pretty well. So, with all that said, I want to know in the chat wall, guys, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Because I know I am ready, and I know that Pokey is ready right over here. So, are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yep. Okay, we're seeing okay, we got some people ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
No.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. So, let's go ahead and get things started then. And we shall now go into our first story right over here, where we are going to be looking into last weekend. Because there is something actually very significant and very important that actually occurred, because I kid you not, guys, history has been made. We just saw something that what many people might have considered impossible in the past, but now things are actually happening, and it is going on right now. And what I'm talking about, of course, is Incredibles. Whoops, fudge nabbit, that's the wrong one. Okay, there we go. Now we got our first story right here. Incredibles 2. Yes, last weekend, Incredibles 2 has officially broken Finding Dory's record to officially become the highest grossing animated feature of all time at the domestic box office. But that's not the big one that I really want to talk about. What I actually want to talk about is actually the total of the domestic box office that is actually going on right now. And what has happened last weekend was that Incredibles 2 was the first ever animated feature in history to surpass $500 million at the domestic box office alone. You gotta keep in mind, there has never been a single animated feature that has done that in general. And as you can see here, as I am currently recording this, what's going on in terms of the total that Incredibles 2 has right now it is going well ahead, where it has $524.2 million at the domestic box office and a worldwide total of $792.7 million. So I think it's pretty much safe to say that it is a massive hit. And I think it is going to be the biggest animated hit of the year. Like, I don't think even Ralph Breaks the Internet is going to break that. So, Pokey, first of all, what do
I
you
gotta
think?
say is that I think that we finally got that something amazing that Bob was waiting for.
And that is?
He broke a record.
Oh, that is true. That is true. Yeah. So we definitely do. But what I really do find that is quite amazing with this record is when you do think about the number that, like, in the domestic box office, it's $500 million just on that. And I want to ask you a question, Pokey. Really think about this. How many animated films in general do you think has made more than $500 million in total at the box office alone? Like, do you think you can guess the number?
Not many. I'd say maybe about 6, maybe.
Six in total, surpassing surpassing $500 million at the box office.
Well, I think you'd got like ones. Are you talking about adjusted for inflation or not adjusted for inflation?
I think not adjusted for inflation.
Okay, then yeah, probably about 6. I mean, you probably get like your Beauty and the Beast, your Spirited Away, maybe Pokemon the first movie because so many kids want to go see it over and over and over again.
Okay, dude, $500 million in total at the box office, and you're saying there's just 6?
I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to this stuff.
Actually, okay, okay, fair point. Actually, the real answer, without counting Incredibles 2, is 44. Just 44 animated features. Like, I have the list right over here of the list of the 50 highest grossing animated films, and it's starting at number 45, again, if we don't count Incredibles 2, where it starts off with Rio 2, that just made it at, hold on, I'm just going to show it. Hold on, I just need to show it better for you guys. Yeah, Rio 2, where it has made just $500 million, and going up from there, you do see the list of other animated films that has made it from, like you see the Kung Fu Panda films, the How to Train Your Dragon films, Madagascar, like some of the Pixar films, Ratatouille, Up, and all that kind of stuff. I see
Shrek.
Yep, we got...
Shrek is love.
Yep, we got Shrek the Third, we got Shrek... Oh my god, I just realized, currently right now, Incredibles 2 is actually sandwiched between Shrek the Third and Shrek Forever After. Yeah, and actually, interestingly enough, like, I think, like, almost all the Shrek movies are actually here. Like, we got Shrek 2, that's currently at number 10, like, Shrek the Third and Shrek Forever After. I think it was only Shrek that did not...
No, Shrek was down at the bottom.
Yeah, Shrek didn't even make it to 500 million. But still, like, when you do consider that it's only that right now there's just 45 animated features in the world that has made more than $500 million at the box office, you know, that is still very few. It still like, considering the amount of animated films there are in the world, that still feels like, as you said, it would feel like it's just 6 animated films. And yeah, and like, considering that, like, you got all those animated films, and like, when you look back at all the animated features that it has passed over the years, and only those ones in particular that has really made that milestone, it really does show the impressive factor onto Incredibles, where it really did make that much.
Well, you know, I mean, we've been waiting 14 years for this movie, and we finally got it.
Yeah, that is definitely true. And last time I did talk about this, I mentioned about many of the different factors that went into, like, why is it that Incredibles 2 was so successful. The factor that, yeah, we've waited for this for so long. It got the critics' approval that it really managed to be big. And also the factor, there was something else as well. Oh, the factor that, like, we are in the age where superhero movies are, like, really, really big right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best Fantastic Four movie we've had, right?
In a way, yes, actually. In a way.
I remember when someone brought that up to me, I'm just like, you're right.
I mean, we got the thing with Mr. Incredible.
Four movie ever.
We got the thing with Mr. Incredible. We got Mr. Fantastic as Elastigirl.
Invisible Woman is Violet.
Yeah, Invisible Woman is Violet. Good. I guess
Frozone, you could kind of make him Human Torch, but I guess he's a little bit more like
it's kind of like
what's his
opposite
name?
Human Torch.
Yeah.
So I guess, well, I don't know. Like, technically, you could fill. Like, technically, I would debate, like, maybe Jack Jack would be Human Torch because technically he does have that ability.
Yeah, but Jack Jack has everything.
Well, I mean, it's one of them, so it kind of counts in a sense.
Yeah, it kind of counts.
Yeah,
We'll
exactly.
say that it counts, just so we can say it's a Fantastic Four movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And seeing that Disney now owns Pixar and Marvel,
Pretty much.
same universe.
Yeah, exactly. And also, like, maybe you know more Fantastic Four than I would. Like, would there be a superhero in there that would have, like, some kind of super speed? Like, where can we fit, like, Dash in all this? He's the only one we didn't categorize.
I don't think he's really in any of the specific Fantastic Four, but I know Speed, there's got to be some Marvel character that they've done crossovers with.
The Flash!
Cross even more boundary lines and go right to DC.
Yeah, pretty much. Just wanted to see if I could trigger any comic fans. It's like, not the Flash! Wrong one! Oh my god. Yeah, but anyways, going back to the record with Incredibles 2, but I will say there is one thing that I really am surprised about is actually the factor that at the foreign box office, it still isn't really that big so far, because so far, like in the international waters, it has made a total, as I'm recording this, of $268.5 million, which is almost, or approximately half as much as it made domestically. And that really does make me wonder about how it's going to do in the long run. Where, yeah, I am pretty confident that there is a good chance it could surpass $1 billion at the box office, but it does bring up the question: is it still is this still going down the road where there is a possibility that it could even beat Frozen as the highest-grossing animated feature of all time?
I'd say that it could. I mean, how worldwide have we gone so far? Have we gone to China? Have we gone to India? Have we gone to Japan? Have we gone to Russia?
I think it's gone most of it. Like, it's done most. I know it just did China, but there are still some big places that it has yet to go to. Like, right now, the UK actually just got Incredibles 2. Like, it was just released there. So
yeah, there's that. It still has a whole lot of time, and there's still a lot of people that haven't seen it yet. I know I haven't seen it yet.
Really? Oh my god, dude, you have to, man.
Yeah, I know. I've gotten behind on a lot of things.
Okay.
But I saw Action Point, and that was amazingly good.
Wait, which one did you saw?
Action Point.
Action Point. Oh, right. That isn't that the Johnny Knoxville movie?
Yeah, that's a Johnny Knoxville movie, and you go to it thinking that it's gonna be like a Jackass movie, but it's only just barely Jackass. It's really just a movie about a family that owns a theme park and wants to have fun, and is all based on Action Park.
Oh, okay. So it's almost like it's almost like a vacation movie, or like in the style of National Lampoon's Vacation.
You could say that. It definitely has that sort of feeling of the 70s to it, but it's more about the guy that actually owns the park and not the guy that is going to the park.
Oh, okay. Oh, now I see. Okay, that's quite interesting. But yeah, I figured that for this episode, but also I just want to mention, excuse me. Now, the one thing that I want to mention though is that it really does show the power right now that we have in terms of Incredibles 2 and how it's really going big at the box office. In fact, one thing that I do want to mention is actually how it's even still going strong right now at the box office, even though it's like more on the sidelines to make room for some of the new movies. But a great example about the power of Incredibles 2 at the box office is if you look at Hotel Transylvania 3, for example, because that movie,
You
as
said
I'm
the magic word.
Ah! Yes. Now, anyways, as I was saying with Hotel Transylvania 3, is that it just got released in theaters as I'm recording this, and people are predicting at the box office that it might open with around somewhere between 40 to 45 million, which is actually interesting because that's it. What the thing is, Hotel Transylvania 3 might not even open as much as what Incredibles 2 did on its third weekend, where it actually made $46.4 million. That really does show the power of Incredibles 2, and that we might never see another animated feature that's going to be this big in a long time.
Well, again, it's building up to getting the Incredibles 2 because everyone wanted to see Incredibles 2. The first movie ended right on that cliffhanger. And while we did get the movie game, sort of, with Incredibles 2 Rise of the Underminer,
yeah,
it's there. But apparently
exists.
that's not canon anymore.
Yeah, I know. We were like, well, that's the thing. Like, we took that and we threw it in the trash because now we got a legitimate thing.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like all the Star Wars extended universe things when now they're making episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
Like extended universe, they have all these stories that we could be doing, but we don't.
Whatever. We're like, the thing is, at least, like, when it comes to Pixar, if they are gonna make a sequel, it might as well be Incredibles 2, because that is the most requested one ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
And it lent itself most to the sequel. I mean, I guess Toy Story 2 also really lent itself to a sequel, but a couple of... what other Pixar stories have there been?
I don't know. Like I guess we can debate that Toy Story itself kind of it kind of works well as a standalone movie. I mean, like, yeah, the sequels are absolutely phenomenal, and I mean, like, Toy Story is widely renowned as like one of the greatest animated trilogies in history. But like, I could debate that Toy Story technically it can work well as its own feature film, not necessarily meant to build up like with all the sequels and stuff.
Oh, yeah, it definitely works well as its own animated film, own standalone film, but it also, you got all the aspects of there's so many other stories that a toy would go through in its life. You got the toy that is now being overshadowed by the new favorite toy. You got the person where it's like, oh, do I want to get played with, or do I want to live forever without being destroyed by my child? And then it goes into, okay, now that my child's an adult, what happens to me?
That is true. That is a good point. So, what's going to happen with the fourth movie?
I don't know yet. I'm interested.
Yeah, because, like, so far, the only thing I've heard about it is just going to be the romance angle between Woody and Bo Peep.
Really? They're going to bring back Bo Peep? I thought you, like, got garage saled.
I don't know. Like, that could be the case, but that's what I've heard so far, is that it's going to be, we're going to see the comeback of Bo Peep, and there's going to be a romance between Woody and Bo Peep.
Oh, I've got an idea of probably what's going to happen. It's not going to be Andy's Bo Peep, but it's going to be another Bo Peep, and Woody's not going to like necessarily know the difference, and it's going to like try to bring in that aspect of there's all sorts of different toys that are all exactly the same, but they're not exactly the same as we saw in Toy Story 2 with all the buzzes.
That could be an interesting point. Like, they're gonna kiss, and then the real Bo Peep comes in and is like, Woody, who is this skank right over here?
Yeah, that would be very interesting, and that might be the angle that they've taken with this, considering that, yeah, Bo Peep, Andy's Bo Peep, is no longer there. It was only, what was it? Jesse, Rex, Potato Head, Mrs. Potato Head, Slinky, Buzz, and Woody in Toy Story 3.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and I mean, like, you do have a small appearance of, like, the Green Army Men, but they kind of bailed out at the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Technically, you forgot Bullseye as well.
Oh, yeah, Bullseye.
Yeah, the horse. So, yeah, with all that said, though, I would like to go and pass on the microphone to the chat wall right now. I want to know what you guys think regarding, I know we talked a lot about Toy Story 4, but I want to know, what do you think about what's currently going on with Incredibles 2? The factor that it became the first ever animated feature in history to surpass $500 million at the box office alone. Like, what do you think about the new record? What do you think about the future of Incredibles 2? Do you think it's really going to go big? If it's going to make a lot of money, pass $1 billion, and maybe even be the highest grossing animated feature of all time? I don't know. I want to know what you guys think. Let's see. It's going to be interesting how Incredibles 2 is going to be in the next couple of weeks, considering the competition like Mamma Mia 2 and Mission Impossible Fallout. Okay, I don't think it's gonna have.
Who's gonna really watch Mamma Mia 2?
I don't know. I guess mothers, if they want to drop off their kids to Hotel Transylvania 3 or Incredibles 2, it's like, okay, you go watch your little cartoons. Mommy's gonna have some fun with Cher.
Yeah, I thought was what was it? The guys that did Dancing Queen. Their Icelandic
ABBA?
pop band.
No.
ABBA, yeah, that was it.
No. It is ABBA, but Cher is gonna be in the movie.
Well, that shows how much I care about that.
Pretty much. No, but like, it is true that Mission Impossible Fallout will be real top. Like, that's gonna be the next big movie that will be coming up that will top the box office. So that's going to be some serious competition. But Mamma Mia, I don't know.
Okay, we had some people saying that I doubt it'll beat Frozen and Minions, but it will certainly make $1 billion.
Yeah,
probably.
That is the feeling that I am getting as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it would beat Minions, and I am pretty confident. Yeah, it will eventually pass $1 billion at the box office, maybe next month or even in September. But for now, I don't know. Like, maybe not Frozen, but we'll see. We'll see. Let's see. Oh, God. Oh, you read Russian, I see.
Billion. Oh, billion.
Are you reading the Russian comments that are coming up in there?
No, I'm trying to speak Minion.
Oh, Minion. Oh, okay. Either way, maybe it'll work. So I'm technically right. Oh, my God. All right. So, yeah, Mission Impossible 6 will be better than Skyscraper. I don't know. I've read reviews about Skyscraper, and it's like, I've read it's one of those, like, the, like, rock movies where it's, like, just stupid fun.
Well, isn't Skyscraper kind of like trying to be Die Hard, but not?
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, that's definitely what I've heard. Is that it's basically.
I mean, that's what I see when I see the trailer, because you got like a guy who's going up against terrorists in a building, trying to get to his family, and I see that he doesn't have an arm, so I'm kind of seeing that like the parallels.
No, he doesn't have a leg. That's the thing.
Oh, he doesn't have a leg. That was it. So then that's kind of like going to feed into him stepping on broken glass, maybe.
Mm-hmm. So that's
just my question with it.
No, it's weird. It is
like...
true. I've heard, like, that's what I've heard in reviews, is that apparently it is like a major ripoff to Die Hard and stuff like that. But it is kind of like it's turn off your brain entertainment, and I guess that's kind of the movies that we got released in theaters in terms of the new ones. It's just like the turn off your brain entertainment.
Yeah, and I'm good with that. I enjoy the turn off your brain entertainment.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and move on to our next story. And it's actually very interesting that you have brought up Action Point. The fact that it is a movie where we are going into a theme park and all that kind of stuff, because that does relate to the next story that we actually do have. And I'm going to be very honest with you. This is actually a movie I have, not a movie, but a trailer I have yet to check out. So this is going to be my first time seeing it. Have you seen this trailer yet?
Yeah, I watched it when you sent it to me.
Ah, okay. Good. So we're actually going to go and watch this again. So do you have it ready with you?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So with that said, let's go ahead into a fun little ride where we are going to be checking out Wonder Park in 3, 2, 1, go.
Paramount.
Ah, yes. Crap. Hold on a sec. Okay, there we go.
Hey, get back here!
Okay, little girl walking in the forest.
Go through the X marks the spot. I gotta say that some of these effects looks pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it does look. I will admit, it does look impressive, but I do notice like the song itself. Like that girl is like freaking everywhere nowadays. What? What is this? Oh, wow.
Well, it definitely is a wonderful world.
Holy crap, that really looks nice, actually. To bring it back to life.
The people, if you build it, they will come.
Pretty, yeah.
Wonderland is now open! Boy, it's gonna be a great day!
1, 2, 3, snort!
You might want to hold on.
Get ready.
Smile.
Oh, man. Oh, we gotta have that action.
We am the wonder in Wonderland.
This looks very cool. I'm interested.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm actually pretty impressed with this. Like, like, I'm just gonna start off with my one criticism that I do have with it is actually the use of the song right now, because, like, how many times do we have to listen to that soft-spoken woman singing, like, a popular song? Because, like, I think I just heard her not too long ago, or, like, a few months ago, where, like, she was singing Pure Imagination for what was it? For Ready Player One. Like, we
I
always...
don't know, but every time I hear that song, I always think about kindergarten. Because my teacher, like, was obsessed with that song, and, like, we'd always be listening to, what was it, the James Earl Jones, Dizzy Gillespie version where it's like, I see trees.
No, that's Louis
of
Armstrong.
Green,
Oh,
red
God.
roses too.
That ain't
And
James
then,
Earl
like, at
Jones,
the end
man.
of the year, we had to sing it for all of the parents and grandparents. And it's just like, and we also were doing the sign language to it because my teacher took American Sign Language and, like, was fluent in it.
Oh, okay. No, but
Yeah,
oh,
like, I
God.
can't
Look,
hear
the
that
fact
song
you
without thinking about that.
Yeah, some people are even mentioning, I see that, oh, let's see, Matt, did you know that, oh, the director of Cow and Chicken is directing this film? Oh, that is true.
Oh, sweet! I love cow and chicken.
I love
'Cause Mama
Cow and
had
Chicken too, man.
Mama had a cow.
Dad was proud. He didn't care how. Oh, my God. Yo, that
I
is
love that
actually...
show. That's
Oh, my God.
so
It was
great.
It's one of
it
my
came out-
favorites in Cartoon Network, man.
Yeah, it's just perfectly written and timed so that it's like it's great for the kids because it's just stupid humor, but you watch it as an adult, it's just like, wow, there's so much that flew under the radar that the kids won't get.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. No, especially with the biker gang of the Carpet Munchers.
Oh yes, the single band episode.
Yes.
The funny thing is that when I was watching it on PlayStation View, they like replayed the orthodontist episode when they took that episode out.
Oh, really?
I'm just like, I already saw the orthodontist episode. I looked up like, oh, Biker Gals, Buffalo Gals was the episode.
Yeah, the
that was-
Buffalo Gals. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, and they go out and they like eat like carpet, eat like
They
carpet.
break
and
into
stuff.
people's houses and chew on the carpet.
Yes, exactly. No, yeah, but that is actually very interesting to note about Wonder Park. It is true that technically, there was a director previously. I think it was Dylan Brown or something like that, and he was actually kicked off of Paramount because of sexual harassment. And I guess now the new David Feiss came in to be the new director, which is actually really awesome. And I mean, it's about time that he would actually step in to become a director, because last I heard, like, he was only working on like open season sequels for Sony.
Okay.
So
Hope
yeah.
you don't mind that I'm having pizza because, I mean, you got to have pizza on a podcast, right?
Did you not have lunch, dude?
No, I had lunch. But whenever you do a podcast, you got to have pizza. Ain't that right, Pan?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, man. Good point. And we are talking about animation on top of that. Yeah. No, that is actually very interesting to point out. But yeah, I will say though that when it comes to the trailer, it does look great. The factor that
it looks brilliant.
yeah, it's mostly in terms of like the way that it presents itself as something more of a fantasy kind of film, that it's more about experiencing this new world with Wonder Park, which honestly I think it actually sold itself very, very well, where we would go and enter into this new world. And the way that they built it with the animation, it's actually really, really nice. And my God, it's already quite impressive. And immediately I
And
just
just
got
from
to
like looking at some of the camera shots that they were doing, it's like the sort of things that you just can't do in live action because you need to have like the free flowing camera that you just can't have the crane and whatnot do.
Yeah, exactly. Like, not just the crane, but it's like even debatable if even drones nowadays would be capable of doing that. And especially like having this theme park being built in such a large scale like that, like the something that would even put Disneyland into shame. It's honestly quite crazy the way that they built these rides and stuff. And even
Yeah.
as you said, during like even as you said during the trailer, the factor of the effects, like that was amazing. This looks like something that would be top of the line quality, and especially this is something from Paramount, which we haven't seen them release an original animated feature since 2012 when they had DreamWorks Animation with Rise of the Guardians. And this is almost up to like this really does show that Paramount could be a serious competitor in the animation world.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see him come back because I mean, all I really know him for is the Nickelodeon movies and Snoopy.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, like even nowadays, like they really are under the radar. I mean, the last movies that they've done in recent years, outside of like some of the DreamWorks ones, like they did like maybe they had one little spark with Rango, and then afterwards like they got the SpongeBob sequel because well it is Nickelodeon, and well they tried coming back this year, but it really failed miserably considering that they did release they did release Sherlock Gnomes. You got to remember that's
Yeah.
them. So yeah, that
Sherlock Gnomes is like one of those movies where I don't put it on any studio because it doesn't have like the store look that you see with other studios.
well, you know the thing
And
is
that's
with no
why because we don't see anything from Paramount, I guess.
Yeah, no, but it's so weird when it comes to Romeo and Juliet in general because, like, the first one was actually it wasn't made, but it was distributed by Disney, and then suddenly now they had a deal with Paramount. So that that's honestly kind of the weird case with Romeo and Juliet. So I wouldn't blame you if you think it's a little hard to try to like place in like where would it be.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
yeah. Also,
Curly doesn't look like SpongeBob though.
oh no, definitely. Oh no, definitely not. Oh my god. Yeah, this ain't no sponge out of water. But I do have a question for you though regarding what we saw in Wonder Park. Is there anything that you have any concerns? Do you have any criticisms? Are there some things that you're not 100% sure about?
I don't know. It's hopefully they like. I just want them to get like the balance right because it's very easy like with a movie that's based on like a world where things get too much focus and other things don't get enough focus. Like they might be putting too much focus on like trying to construct the world where they don't put enough focus on the character and the story, or they might put so much focus on like trying to make these characters that we don't really know what their whole reason for doing any of this is because there's no story to it. It's just paper thin. I found a theme park. I'm going to build a theme park sort of a deal.
Yeah, that you do
That's
bring
the
up.
only real concern that I have with this. Everything else just looks great. And after seeing it, I'm excited.
Yeah, that is actually a very good point. I honestly, my big concern with this is hopefully they don't go too much into the comedy because that's one thing I have noticed within the trailer is that it's not necessarily trying to sell it as a comedic animated feature. Like I do have a feeling that there could probably be some jokes that they'll try to fit in within the movie, but I don't know. I just feel like if they're not selling the, that maybe they would have some jokes that they're a little too afraid to market because they're not that good. So hopefully, I'm just hoping that with the way that they're presenting it as this, like experiencing this magical world, that they might not go into too much of the comedy, but you have certainly brought up a great point where it could be troublesome if they don't know the right balance, that if they're going to focus too much on Wonder Park itself and not enough on the characters, like the little kid and all the animals that she'll be interacting with the monkey and the boar and the bear and all those characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to like jokes that fall flat, just so long as it's not always jokes, then yeah, and I'm typically pretty all right with that.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Like, I am definitely hoping for the best, but I will say, like, Wonder Park, I'm not gonna lie, it really is a pleasant surprise to see this, and especially, my God, have they seriously nailed the animation on this one? Like,
Oh yeah.
this would, I'm not gonna lie, this is definitely right up there with some of the better looking animated films we've seen so far. Like, you know what's actually very interesting? I want to know your thoughts compared to some of the trailers that we've got a while ago, like with Lego Movie 2 and How to Train Your Dragon 3. Since those movies are also coming out in 2019, how do you think Wonder Park is that we saw this trailer? Like, how do you think that will be in terms of what we could get with those movies as well?
Well, compared to like Lego Movie 2, thing with the Lego movies is like with Lego Ninjago, I feel like we're starting to get a little bit of fatigue on it because Lego Ninjago wasn't too popular and they're like starting to go out of the world of just being straight Legos and Lego physics. And maybe with Lego Movie 2, they might be trying to go a little bit more outside of the world of Lego physics. Maybe.
Yeah, I know what you mean, because like, I mean, technically I wouldn't be surprised if it would end up disappointing some people, because you got to keep in mind like the Lego Movie 2 is only going to be directed by one of the directors of Trolls, I believe. It's not going to be Phil Lord and Chris Miller. They're only coming back as producers and also a little bit of the writers, but that's pretty much it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, unless Lego Movie 2 comes out with like a really amazing, brilliant trailer that just has everyone going, whoa, I gotta see that, similar to what we saw with like a Lego Batman.
Yeah, someone brought it up, Mike Mitchell. Yeah, go on, sorry.
So unless we come up with another trailer, I think Wonder Park is probably going to do a little bit better than Lego Movie 2. In terms of How to Train Your Dragon 3, I mean, it's How to Train Your Dragon series. It's basically DreamWorks' greatest series that they have so far.
Yeah, I mean, it is true. I mean, sadly, I've probably mentioned this before, but like, even when I'm talking to even when I would talk to my friends about DreamWorks animation, like the only thing that they're excited about from DreamWorks right now is just How to Train Your Dragon. And I mean, the rest that they got, like with Trolls and Boss Baby and all that stuff, it's just like, ugh, like.
Well, I mean, I'm ready for Shrek 6 and Shrek 7 and even Shrek 42.
Shrek 42. Yeah, but
because I mean, we already have Shrek 5 with all the various different direct to DVD movies and whatnot. So it's not like we don't have a Shrek 5.
Well,
so in the words of Blue, we gotta go 6 and 7 and even 42.
Or like, you could just go on the internet, go on YouTube, look at the memes, and you'll pretty much get Shrek 69. I mean, he's already done it with Ellis from, is it Ellis? Yeah, Ellis from Left 4 Dead 2.
Because Shrek is love, Shrek is life.
Basically. But yeah, okay, that is interesting. Yeah, for me, I would say the same thing. Like, in terms of the trailers that we got so far, I am definitely a lot more impressed than what I got with Lego Movie 2. Like, this could be somewhere I would say maybe on par with the trailer to How to Train Your Dragon 3. Because, like, we've got some highly impressive animation. There could be a little bit of concerns, but so far I think, like, we could have something quite promising in here.
Yeah, it's basically, I think How to Train Your Dragon 3 is just going to be sort of riding on the wave of just How to Train Your Dragon in general.
Well, also
Wonder Park is just going to come in and just kind of be the big newcomer.
Well, yeah, and you know what's actually very interesting, speaking of which, like, I wanted to mention that technically, like, the big thing that they're promoting with Dragon 3 is the fact that it will be the last of the series. But you know, actually, there is one thing that I do want to mention that is actually very interesting, considering that it is coming out next year. Wonder Park is actually going to be one of the few animated features that's not going to be a sequel. Because you got to keep in mind, next year we're going to get a whole lot of sequels. Toy Story 4, Lego Movie 2, How to Train Your Dragon 3, Secret Life of Pets 2, I'm sure we got, like, plenty of others as well, but
yeah,
Angry Birds Movie 2. So that's the thing, is that I am actually hoping for the best for Wonder Park, because this could actually come out as one of the few... Oh, Frozen 2, of course. Yeah, but this is actually going to be coming out as one of the few original animated features, so I am hoping for the best.
I think that we got a whole lot of, like, what's the word? Promise with that, because there's so many people out there that just have sequel fatigue in general. Like, oh, it's another superhero movie. Oh, it's another Frozen movie. Oh, it's another Minions movie. Oh, it's another whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's like, oh, it's a wholly original concept, and that's kind of what drove me to going to see Action Points. Then again, it's also just that I find Action Park a very interesting history park, which anyone who's listening, go look up some documentaries on Action Park. It is insane.
I don't know. Wait, Action Park. Wait, didn't Defunct Land already make a video of that?
Yeah, Defunct Land did that. There's some guys on Dailymotion that did something on it. There's a whole bunch of different documentaries on it. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah. Oh, someone did also mention, technically there is another animated film that will be original, The Missing Link from Laika. That's going to be another original one as well. So yeah, like, it does prove my point.
So we're going to get another Laika animated masterpiece that nobody's going to see.
Pretty much, actually. Yeah, but
no, really, I mean, anything from Laika, I've been impressed with pretty much everything that they've done.
I agree as well. So maybe we could be getting something similar to Wonder Park as well. So hopefully, there is a little bit of doubt that is in the back, but I will say so far
someone's bringing up a Super Mario movie from Illumination.
Not yet. Holy crap! It just got announced not too long ago.
Technically, I guess you could say it's a spin-off from the original Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, but that's not going to be coming out next year. Like, whoa, man. Like, wait a few years. Wait till it's being made, actually. No, but with Wonder Park, I will say that even though I might have a little bit of doubt, like a little bit of like worrisome in there, I am highly impressed overall with what we got with this trailer. So, with all that,
I think people just in general are going to go see it because it's an original idea. Because look at any of the other movies that we have coming out; none of them are original. We had blockers and action points and.
Well, I mean, yeah, and
something else.
Yeah, and actually, oddly enough, what's actually funny is like even the animated films we have now, like we have Incredibles 2, we got Hotel Transylvania 3. We don't have an original animated film released in theaters right now.
Exactly.
So yeah, with that said though, I want to go into the chat wall right now, and I want to know what you guys think. What do you think about the trailer that we just saw with Wonder Park? Are you guys actually impressed with the trailer? Are you guys excited to go see Wonder Park? Or do you have any doubt Wonder Park? Maybe you didn't like it. I want to know what you guys think in there. Let's see.
Apparently we're also getting Shaun the Sheep movie too in 2019.
Oh, that is true. I almost forgot about that one. That is true. Like,
I mean, when I saw it years later after it came out, and I thought that was pretty cool.
The Shaun the Sheep movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was impressed. Like it wasn't Armin's best, but it definitely was a cute movie.
Yep. A lot of people saying that it has potential, looks good, looks amazing.
Some are mixed. Oh yeah, and it's going to have a Nickelodeon series, just like Jimmy Neutron and Barnyard. That is true. That is true. They are planning that actually to.
Okay, well if that's the case, then that does bring up a bit of a concern because like sometimes you'll get movies where they do a whole lot just to sort of set up the TV show.
Okay, yeah, that is true. I mean, like, it could either work out very well, like with Jimmy Neutron, or it could go terribly, like, or it wouldn't go well, like with Barnyard.
Mm-hmm.
So it could, yeah, that is true.
That's one of those things where that's an knowing that information, that's a bit of a concern now.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, they're doing that? Uh-oh. Yeah.
Because there's a lot that you can do in like just trying to make a good movie, but you also, if you know that you're going to be making a TV show, then you're going to start putting in a whole lot of things in order to say like, here's a character that doesn't get a whole lot of development, but kind of gives the impression that they might be very important, and then they get more screen time in the TV show.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that sort of happened with like Nick from Jimmy Neutron, and basically everyone in Barnyard.
Yeah, that is true. Except for the internet's main man, Biggie Cheese. Except for Biggie Cheese, man. We gotta pay our respect for our boy, Biggie Cheese. Yeah.
Baby, I forgot to Birdie.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, that is definitely true. There is a bit of a concern there, but I don't know. Like, honestly, I'm gonna stay optimistic. Again, we got to keep in mind,
I'm
like,
definitely gonna stay optimistic too. I'm always basically optimistic going.
And remember,
films.
like, this is technically.
I was even optimistic going into the Emoji Movie, and I got some masochistic enjoyment out of it.
Oh God, dude. Oh God, yeah.
Well, the thing is that I don't want to go into movies expecting to hate it. Because when you go into a movie expecting to hate it, you're going to end up hating it.
Yeah.
If you go into a movie saying, okay, I'm going to go in with an open mind, see if maybe this is going to be good, then, you might find some good things. And I can normally find some good things. I even found some in the Emoji Movie, which was just masochism.
Well, I don't know, whatever floats your boat, dude. I guess, yeah. No, you did.
I don't recommend it to anyone, and I definitely don't want to see it again. But
you experienced it. You did a thing. No,
yeah,
but
I did a thing.
Yeah,
and I got podcast fodder for it.
Yeah, and you got to keep in mind, like, you got to remember, like, again, this is going to be a David Feist movie, so it could turn out quite well. So okay, yeah.
Here's this could. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed. All right, so with that said and done, let's go right ahead onto our next story, which we are going to have a bonus miscellaneous. And for this one right over here, we're going to be sticking into the theme of theme parks, except what's going to happen right here is that we are actually going to a real theme park, a real wonder park in a way, where we are going to Disney World. Pokey, I'm sure you've been to Disney World a few times.
I've been there 3 times.
Okay.
And with the story, it's like, when I see the story, I'm like, man, that came out right the year after the last time I went.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last time I went was in 2005. This story, right about it, came out in 2006.
All right, I see. So, that's actually interesting to know. So hopefully you do have a little bit of knowledge of what I'm talking about. Basically, what I'm going to be discussing about will be something that, for Disney fans and for Disney Park fans, this has been something that they have been waiting for so long, that hopefully this is going to be something that will eventually happen soon. And what I'm talking about is going to be Expedition Everest. Yes, according to WDW News Today, they have reported that Disney will officially soon be closing down Expedition Everest in order to go and give it a bit of a tune-up, to go and renovate many of the stuff that is going on. And, okay, hold on a sec. I do see that a lot of people are freaking out over, like, apparently there's a troll, so let me just go and fix that. Hold on a sec. Okay, where am I going? Here, let me just go.
Is that the Russian guy?
What? The Russian guy. Let me just go and fix that. Apparently, like, people are just freaking out about it. So, anyways, what's gonna happen is that in the future, they will be closing down Expedition Everest temporarily, not forever, but they'll go and try to fix things up to make sure that they can renovate some things, to make sure that, like, whatever loose screws, they can go tighten it so that they can make it feel fresh and new again. But the biggest relevance about all this is actually to go and fix up the biggest piece that's in the Expedition Everest, like, basically the star of the attraction, which is the Yeti itself, which the giant animatronic has been broken down ever since 2008 and hasn't been repaired since. And
Now, you say that this is the star and it's been broken down. So is that like going to a concert and the performer just doesn't come out on stage and we just listen to the backup singers?
Not necessarily. It's kind of like we're in a concert and the rock star does appear, but we're just seeing him taking a nap. Like he's just like he does nothing. He's just sleeping. And that's the thing, is that it turns the Yeti animatronic into a statue. And what Disney has done in the past, they didn't necessarily fix the animatronic Yeti. All they've done mostly was try to add in some flashing lights. Because the Yeti was in a dark room and they didn't want to like prominently show it, so they put in some flashing lights to give it the illusion that the Yeti is actually moving, which is why many Disney fans have actually dubbed it the Disco Yeti. No, I'm dead serious. That's what they called it.
When I did the test, there was some sort of technical problem, so I had to like go. So like we went through the entire track.
Mm-hmm.
Only it was like in slow motion, and they had all the lights on, so we saw like all the different aspects of how they faked it. And it was very interesting. Like when you're going down the test track, and anyone that knows, there's like this one point where you're like going to have a head-on collision with a semi truck.
Oh yeah.
You see a grill and some headlights.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it's that similar form of illusion, and that's all that they've done. But so far, going back in my source in WDW News, they have reported that there are two sources that would confirm that Disney is currently on it. One is actually a tweet from the creative head of Disney Animal Kingdom in general, Joe Rohde, where he says that they are currently working on it. And also, to read from my source, it says, internal sources have also told us that they are personally working on the Everest project. So the lengthy refurbishment, that's the word I've been... Oh boy, excuse me. That's the word that I've been looking for, refurbishment. So the lengthy refurbishment and all the changes will bring are clearly in development, and the closure is imminent. What other pluses to the ride may occur are unknown.
Hey, Matt, can you refresh your page so that people can see the tweet?
Oh, yeah, I'll try, actually. Or, you know what? I'll do something better. I'm just going to go and open up a brand new link just to see it right now. Here.
Because the tweet's kind of funny.
Whoops. No, wait. No, that's not it. Yeah. Remember, yeah, it says, remember when Joe Rohde swore at D23 that he would fix the Yeti, bless him, and then we got Woody coming out of the box going like, yeah, how you do, babe? Like, he's just gonna come out, how's it going, dudes? And then, like, we got Joe Rohde confirming that they're still on it. So, yeah, eventually, so what's going on right now is that we don't have a confirmed release date. We don't have a confirmed date on when they will temporarily close Expedition Everest for refurbishment, but we know that it will eventually happen so that we can actually fix the Yeti. Now, it is actually very interesting that they are doing this right now, and I mean, it is perfectly understandable why they haven't done this before, because the big thing why this hasn't been done anytime sooner is mainly because we're talking about Expedition Everest. This is Disney's most popular attraction at Animal Kingdom that they have done for a long time. And it was the main reason why so many people would go to Animal Kingdom in the first place, is because they want to go and check out Expedition Everest. And if they don't
I
have...
just do the Tree of Life?
Yeah, they can just go and check out, but yeah, they can go underneath and check out It's Tough to Be a Bug. And from there...
That show scared me a lot when I was a child.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. But the thing is that if they close down Expedition Everest, then they're gonna then that means there wouldn't be much of a point to go to Animal Kingdom in general. So that's why like visitations will definitely go down. However, that has pretty much
There's
changed.
a lot of cool things to do there.
Yeah, there are a lot of cool things, but for many people, the main attraction is Expedition Everest. However, things have changed over the years, and recently we did get a brand new section, which is Pandora based on Avatar, and that's the new thing right now. So this is why currently it is the best time to go and fix up Expedition Everest, because people are still going to Animal Kingdom just to go and check out Pandora, which that is making some big rides. So now they can actually go and fix up Expedition Everest so that they can make it feel fresh and new again.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was like on the Defunct Land podcast where they were talking about like how they came up with Pandora Land because there's going to be this big franchise of Avatar movies, and then they just like made the one, and Disney's just kind of like, oh, well, now what?
Yeah, they're just sending, that thing has been going on for, because the production has been going on for like many years. I think like it started not long after the release of the first film, where like they announced it back in, I think like 2011 or something like that, because I remember last time I went to Disney World in 2012, they were still working on the Avatar section in Animal Kingdom. Yeah, and also I want to mention as well a second reason as to why they didn't necessarily fix it up yet, because the biggest problem in Expedition Everest is actually the Yeti, which that one is broken. However, the rest of the ride, it's perfectly okay. It's still workable. And the thing with the Yeti is that you only pass by it for like a few seconds and that's it. Like for many people who do go in the ride, like it's not immediately gonna click in their head that the Yeti is just standing there like a statue. Like they're just gonna mostly go there and go, holy crap, there's a Yeti. You know, they're just gonna do that. So really, what's the point in fixing a giant animatronic that could cost like thousands of dollars when people are just gonna see it for a few seconds?
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. And I'm trying to think of some other examples that there might be, but it's hard for me to really think of them because it's been so long.
Yeah, it is true. I mean, like, it's only those two, like, honestly, for me, there's only those two reasons that do pop up. But I do understand at the same time, on the other hand, on why people really want to see that Yeti animatronic to be fixed up. Because, like, when you look behind the scenes and when you look at the Yeti itself and how he moves and stuff like that, it really is one of the most impressive animatronics. It really is quite fascinating to look at. In fact, I think in my source,
I'm sure.
Yeah, they even have
Disney has amazing animatronics. It was like what was it? It's like this Toy Story thing where it's like the Mr. Potato Head will like take out his ear and put it back in and like move all his arms around and like point out at people at the audience and like ask them questions. And,
that's like in front of Toy Story Mania, actually. Yeah,
that was it. Toy Story Mania.
Yeah, the Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story Mania. That's definitely true. Like, they always have, like, so many impressive animatronics, and the most recent new big animatronic that they do have is actually, where was it? It was in, now it's in Pandora, which is, like, in the little boat ride, and you see, like, this life-size Navi, and it's, like, this shaman character just moving around, and it's, like, it's so lifelike, like you couldn't tell. And also, some really impressive animatronics, actually. It's weird for me to say, but it's actually in Cars Land. Like, if you look at the animatronics in the Cars ride, like, yeah, maybe you might not care about cars in general, but they look exactly like how they do in the movies. It's honestly really freaky.
That's gotta be something, because I remember when I went to the auto show, I like saw people that had cars that were like custom made and custom painted to look like the cars in the Cars movies, but it was like silk screened. You can still see through the window, sort of a paint job, but still looked amazing. So like actually like going to a theme park and like seeing animatronics where it looks exactly like Lightning McQueen and whatever Bonnie Hunt's character's name was and Mater.
Yeah, no, but
cool.
No, but, like, they do have, like, the ones that are actually cars, and, like, they just have, like, the smiling faces. But, like, when you actually go into the Cars ride, like, Radiator Racers, like, they legit come to life. Like, you see their mouths move and stuff like that. It's like, it's freaky, but really impressive.
Yeah, I can imagine. Disney, it just has amazing animatronics, especially, like, in rides.
Sorry, hold on a second. Hold on. I'm trying to stop a video. It's just
Come back.
God, it's uncontrollable. Crap. It's good. I paused it. What the hell? There we go. Okay, sorry about that.
I don't know. YouTube videos have been done with me as well recently.
Yeah, I don't know what happened here. Sorry about that. As you were saying?
Yeah, it was like this one ride where they like take you to the right before the meteor crashes on Earth and kills all the dinosaurs.
Oh, dinosaur countdown to extinction.
Yeah, that's like my last time I went to Disney World. That is definitely my favorite ride. That
Oh,
wasn't
really?
in Disney Quest because Disney Quest was on another level.
Disney Quest was kind of its own thing. It was kind of like a failed experiment in a way, but oh
It
my
sure
God.
passed for me. I loved going to that giant 5-story arcade where everything was free.
Yeah, you do have a point. There's a lot of cool stuff, but like if
And
you
then there was
saw
also like that ride where you play Buzz Lightyear and you got like go-kart bumper cars and like you shoot the balls out of the
Yeah,
cannon,
I
like,
remember. I
hit
remember.
people, and then there's like the pirate ride where you like control. Where you, like,
Yes,
steer
I
the ship
remember
and
the
you gotta,
pirate
like,
ride.
shoot down the other enemies. And then there's also like this one thing where like you gotta get in the mech and you gotta pick up other stranded astronauts and like try to get to the ship before the volcano blew up or
I
something.
remember
And it
there's
was
there was also like a jungle cruise ride where you're paddling on a dinghy and there were
Yes,
dinosaurs.
that was another thing where you had to find the gizmo and you had to like steer away from the rapids and like the boat would move and shift on the projected screens and it was
Oh yeah, I think that maybe you've already mentioned this. Didn't they also have like some kind of alien encounter game as well?
there might have I might have mentioned that, but there's also one where like you go into the world of comic books and you gotta like swing around a laser sword. And there's also
Yeah.
one where you gotta control, where it's another virtual reality thing, where you control the carpet in Aladdin.
Dude, the one that honestly I am surprised you did not mention, it's honestly like I'm surprised you didn't even mention the Mighty Ducks game. That's one that I remember. It's like when you first enter, like when you're in like the third floor or something like that, you see this giant screen, and it was like a Mighty Ducks game, and it was legit like based on the animated series.
Yeah, I remember seeing it, but I don't think I ended up doing it because the line was way too long.
Yeah, it could be.
Like it
could
went
be.
outside the queue and wrapped around the entire experience. I'm like, I'm gonna go do something else.
Yeah, you might as well go do the little arcades and stuff. I actually do have the video right here, so I set it up like to see where the Yeti is. Hopefully they do have it to see if it's in full movement. So like you're entering in the cave, you're going in, and oh, there's the Yeti. Yeah, and like you barely see it. It was only passing by for like a few seconds. Hold on, like let's do that again. Wow, and coincidentally, I just stopped in the section of the cave, and it has like an exit sign. All right, hold on a
Right
second.
now, I still have the Yeti.
Yeah, like you do see the Yeti in this. Hold on a sec. There we go. Yeah, like you do see it. You're in the cave. You're going. Oh, there's a Yeti. You barely even see him move. Like, hold on. Let's just.
Yeah, and
Let's just.
since
Yeah.
you do barely see them move and it's really sort of blink and you miss it, I can see why Disney would just put off fixing it all this time.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's like it's not a top priority for Disney. That's the thing. It's just like they're just waiting a little bit until like if there is like a legitimate point for them to go and fix something up. But at least like it's nice for them to go and fix it up because it really is such an amazing and impressive animatronic. Like you want to see them actually. You do want to see this Yeti come to life. You do want to see like Disney at its best and not just present just like little statues as if this was something from Six Flags or so. Ooh,
Yeah.
excuse me.
I'm trying to think if it was like on a Disney 365 promotion on Disney Channel where they like showed off the Yeti and like really spent some time on it, and it's just like trying to remember if it's just a fake memory or if I really am
I
remembering
remember
right,
there
where
was
it looks
a
like it looked like it was ready to like throw something at you or something.
Nah, it had his claws out. It was just like, "Rawr." No, I know what you're talking about. I don't think it's a Disney 365 thing. There was like a full-on feature, like an hour-long documentary on this. Like a full-on hour-long documentary all chronicling about Expedition Everest, and they really went into length about, they really did go into length regarding, what was it? About the Yeti. So it could be just that. So yeah, with all that said, I think it is a really nice thing that we could actually be seeing the Yeti come back to life and possibly see a refurbishment for Expedition Everest, which is something for a long, long time that it needed. So with that said, I want to go into the chat wall right now, and I want to know what you guys think about Expedition Everest closing down for refurbishment. Do you think do you think the ride needs a bit of a quality boost to help it be popular and fun again? Are you going to be sad that it will be gone? I want to know, what do you think regarding this? I want to know what...
Well, we got one guy whose family got stuck on the hill.
On the hill? Oh god. Oh,
Yeah,
stuck on a ride
it wasn't
like
on
that?
the hill, but I remember, like, I think I was like 6 or 7 when I like got stuck in the haunted mansion,
Oh Jesus.
and it like that just made me terrified of that, and like to this day I still don't want to go inside it.
I know how you feel, man. I know how you feel. Luckily, like when I went in, it didn't get stuck or anything like that. But in which, just out of curiosity, where in which section of the mansion did you get stuck in? Do you remember?
I think it was like the ballroom where it was like the ghosts were dancing
Yeah.
around, and like the 2 ghosts like were in the painting dueling, and then they just
Oh,
like come out
right.
and shoot at each other.
Yeah.
And, like just
okay.
seeing that over and over and over again, just like all that, and they didn't stop the ride. That's what really freaked me out about it, because it's like, if it was just a technical difficulty, technical difficulty, things shut down. I just earlier on that same trip, I got stuck on the Peter Pan ride, but they turned the lights on and they stopped the ride. So
Oh
it's
wow.
just like, oh, okay, they broke the illusion because you're breaking the illusion. With this one, no, they kept to it and they kept going at it. It's just like, it just helped cement the fact that this was like sort of actually happening.
It's just like, why is it going? It's like, why is it not stop? Yeah, it's like, why are the ghosts not stopping? What's going on? Oh my god. What about... Nah, I don't... They're not closing down the Hall of Presidents. Not right now.
No, you only closed down the Hall of Presidents for like maybe 3 weeks when you got to add in the new animatronic.
Yeah, that's the only thing that
And that
they've
happens
done.
just only every 4 to 8 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's... Yeah, depending if there's someone new that's in office. So, I don't know. They're not closing... They're not closing
I've seen
it
the
down
Country
for-
Bear Jamboree.
That's
Poke
my
expert
jam,
Noah.
yo. That's my jam, Country Bears, man. Oh my god. So, yeah, I think everybody's sharing. I think Expedition Everest is shutting down forever. I don't think they will be able to fix the Yeti. They can. Disney can fix
Disco
it.
Yeti will probably come back if it breaks down again.
Yeah, if it breaks down again, then they'll bring back. Yeah,
Or
it's like
maybe
it's a backup
just for
plan.
maybe just for a special occasion. If Disney ever does like a 70s theme.
Oh my god.
They'll just
No, then
stop
you
and
put
do
down
Disco Yeti.
the music and you make the Yeti dress up like freaking John Travolta. Or just have the Yeti be John Travolta. It's like you just pass down into the cave. Hey man, what's going on, man? Oh my god. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, remember the broken Ursula? Of course. I don't know if you remember this. I remember mentioning in the beginning of the year there was at one point, it was in the Little Mermaid ride where the head of the Ursula animatronic completely popped off, and the ride was still going. And the freakiest part is that Ursula was still going. She was still dancing, singing "Poor Unfortunate Soul," and you see the head dangling like "Poor unfortunate soul, it's sad but true." And ironically enough, the same thing actually happened in Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh my god. Wait. Is this the cover? Oh, is this the
Yeah, this
cover?
is the infamous cover, but look where I put my hand. I'm covering up Ursula.
No, you just need to cover up the face. Yeah, there we
Like
go.
that?
Yep, that's exactly what fans saw. That's what people saw. And oddly enough, the
But
same...
yes, I own the penis copy of The Little Mermaid.
The penis copy. Is that what is infamously known? The penis copy?
That's what I'm going to call it. Other people might call it Phallic Edition.
No, you might as well just call it the Boner Priest edition.
Well,
Oh.
that was also on the other edition that I have, where it has a much less profane cover.
Oh, I see.
I think that was just sort of the way it was with all the VHS versions, and then like maybe in the DVD they remastered it.
Yeah, that could be highly possible. Disney does remaster their stuff. Yeah, and sometimes it can be a little infamous as well. Okay, so with all that said and done, though, let's go ahead and try to move on to our next story that we got right over here. And Pokey, I thought about you when I saw this story because this actually does relate to something that you are highly interested in, and that is actually lost media. You're a fan of lost media, am I correct?
Oh yeah. Here's a bit of lost media that I have right here, which is little people, jokes, riddles, and rhymes.
Like, is it literally just a video of just like little poorly animated kids making just dumb jokes, like in the cover right there, like knock knock, who's there?
No, what it is that's like it's about this family where it's mother, father, Penny, and I can't remember what the boy's name is right now, but they're like on a picnic and it starts raining. They don't have anywhere to go, so they find like this abandoned amphitheater that they just like hang out in and just like tell different jokes, riddles, and rhymes.
In an abandoned theater?
Yeah.
What do
Well,
they
it's not like
do?
an
They share their
abandoned
stories
theater.
with the hobo?
No, it's not. It's not necessarily abandoned. It's just like not running. It's like an amphitheater that you'd find in like a park where they'd occasionally show like Shakespeare in the park and whatever.
Oh, okay.
But they just don't currently have a show going on, so there's no one there.
Okay.
But it provides them shelter. And there's like there's this one thing where it's like they have like a bunch of ants and they're like, I'd like you to meet my favorite ant, Uncle Don.
Wait, what?
Just lame puns and stuff like that.
Jeez, that
But yeah, I'm a
sounds
fan of
brutal.
lost media.
Yes, okay,
It's a very
but
interesting concept. So let's get into the actual story.
okay, so with that said, what I actually found is actually this article in the Animation magazine, which I kind of like accidentally showed earlier, which is an article by Professor Mark Toonery Smith called "Gone But Not Forgotten: An Animation Professor's Revisit in Rarely Seen Films." And in the article, he talks about his experience, which apparently was back in 1997, where he would discuss with some people that he met with, including R. Don Smith and Frank Gabriel, who has worked at Warner Brothers with movies such as Space Jam and Quest for Camelot. And it was Frank Gabriel who also worked on Richard Williams' The Thief and the Cobbler. And they were actually there to have a animation masterclass with Richard Williams. And from there, he would go and discuss about 3 lost animated pieces of media. One that a lot of people in the animation world knows about, another that some people don't know about, and another that not even I knew about. Like, this is a project that I first heard about it right here. So let's go in the order of popularity. So hold on a sec. Let's just there. The first one, of course, he would discuss about, it would be regarding The Thief and the Cobbler, which is the most one of the most infamous projects that have been worked on for many, many years. In fact, this is the animated film that has the longest production in animation history so far, going for around 30 years. And in the article, they would even discuss about what happened afterwards when Richard Williams unfortunately lost his position as a director, and we ended up with the version with Arabian Night. And on top of that, he would also go and discuss about the fan remake, which is done by Gary Gilchrist, known as the Recobbled Cut, where he did his best to go and create as much as possible the original version so that it could be out in the public, while also at the same time working on a little bit, like adding a few things that he feels like it would work well with the plot that is from like the future versions, like Arabian Night and like The Princess and the Cobbler and all those different versions. So
yeah, with The Thief and the Cobbler, were you like me where you had like that 1 or 2 VHS tapes where it'd like always be advertising The Thief and the Cobbler, and it's like it played the exact same trailer that they're like showing right below.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I saw it and I was like, huh, yeah. And it dropped off my radar for years and years. I was interested in it, but I never really felt the need to see it until like in college, when somehow it just kind of came back on my radar, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I should rent that. And when I read it, it's just like, it looks amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, The animation is absolutely phenomenal, but then like you got into the other aspects and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah, it's like when I learned about the history of it and like what went into it, and like when I saw parts of the recobbled cut, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see how that was like an added in post sort of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like with the thief, where he says all these things that he's constantly talking, constantly mumbling, but his lips are never moving.
Or
That's
like
so
with Tack as
weird.
well. Like,
Well, Tack, they like at least put in some animation to his lips. It looked very tacked on, but at
no
least he
pun
would like
intended.
say things.
No, I know what you mean. You know, I do kind of have a bit of a history because actually it was my sister who actually has more of a memory about this movie because we would always rent it and we always recognize it as this Aladdin ripoff because that's what it mainly sold itself as because we remember like always seeing this cover right over here. The one where we see like Zigzag just prominently holding the title, and we see Tack and Princess Yum Yum like holding each other in the name of love, and we also got like we got the thief that's holding on to dear life on the tower with the three balls. Like we would always see that cover, and then we would actually own it. And you know what's funny? We didn't legitimately bought a DVD of The Thief and the Cobbler. We actually got it because it came free with cereal. Like we actually bought like we bought a box of Fruit Loops, and it had like a special promotional thing where it also comes with a free DVD of The Thief and the Cobbler.
Yeah, somewhere I have a cereal box DVD where I have the first episode of Jackie Chan Adventures, and I think it was like the third or fourth episode of Jackie Chan Adventures.
Yeah.
And I remember my brother and I watched it so much, and like it didn't come in a case, which was the really weird thing. So it's sitting somewhere on my shelf in just a Fort Ziploc bag.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing, is that they're not usually in the best conditions because you got them in the frickin' cereal box. Like, what else do you expect? But yeah, I do have a lot of memories, and it's quite interesting.
The Thief and the Cobbler and The Quest for Camelot. Those are like the two movies where I had vague memories of them existing and slight interest in them, but I didn't actually like seek them out a whole lot to get strong memories of like actually seeing the movie and knowing what it was about.
Mm-hmm. And what's actually very fascinating is that a few years ago, actually, the Academy, and that is the same Academy that would like present like the Oscars and stuff like that, they would actually have some screenings where they showed the original Thief and the Cobbler. And that's one thing that I would like to know if one day we would actually see that in the that would actually come out to the public if we are going to see the original one, like even though it's not finished, but at least see what would be the case, how they would bring it out someday. I don't know, that would be quite
well, if
fascinating.
that's the case, then I got to see if Diecate knows about this and the rest of the crew on the Lost Media Wiki. So because that's got to be something that we're going to need to search for if we're not already currently looking for it.
Well, it's not going to be online for sure, but eventually I'm excited to see if one day we would actually see that thing in the public.
Oh, yeah, but it's not just like that was online and we don't found it, but like the electric piper, that was something that was acquired by contacting someone that worked on it. Let's see, there was also Rhapsody Street Kids Believe in Santa. That was done by like contacting the person that actually produced it and like getting that VHS TV quality converted to DVD.
Did you have to do you have to contact Nancy Cartwright for that? I mean, isn't she the one?
Yeah, I think that's basically what they did.
Really? They went to actually contact Nancy Cartwright?
Or someone that like owns the rights to it and said, okay, yeah, well, we'll let you have it, but you need to end up paying us. You need to pay to get it post-converted through like one of the VHS to DVD services. And Diecate did that, but then they like sort of lost the copy. So then he had to pay to do it again. But we still got it.
At least you did something. But
and then like don't know the can't remember off the top of my head the full story of the electric piper, but it was basically the same thing. There's also been a whole bunch of like episodes of TV shows where it went around by you contacted someone that actually worked on it. Johnny Quasar, that was something where it was the voice of Jimmy Neutron, Johnny Quasar, that they contacted her and she said, "Oh yeah, I'll put that out online for you guys."
Oh, all right.
Or something along that line.
Wow,
So that's what's going to need to happen probably if we want to get the full copy of original unfinished version of The Thief and the Cobbler.
Well, you got to do a lot more than that because, like I said, like right now it's in the hands of the Academy, like the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. So, you'd have to push a lot harder if you want to get that into the public. So I don't know. However, I will say though, for our next, the next lost piece of media that Mark would be talking about is actually something you don't need to look for anything because technically it's already out on DVD. And one piece that he was discussing about is actually Twice Upon a Time. Now, for those of you who do watch my videos, this is actually an animated film you might be quite familiar with. I've already talked about this in Animation Look Back for the best of stop motion, and recently I have placed it at number 10 of the most underrated animated features. And it definitely was a movie that had quite a bit of an interesting history. And I remember actually talking, like, in here, Mark, what's his name again? Yeah, Mark Smith would provide an interesting description about like a little bit of what happened behind the scenes, how they made the film, and talking about how it actually did have a DVD release, which in fact I actually do have it right here in my collection right here, Twice Upon a Time. So yeah,
this is one of those things where it's one of those not necessarily lost, it's just rare.
Yeah, it's more rare than it actually is lost. But have you seen the film, by the way?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. No, it's actually really good. It's a very unique film, but honestly, it's quite fascinating. It's definitely a lot of fun.
From the clip that they embedded, it looks like it'd be a very, very interesting experience.
Oh, it definitely is. It absolutely is. But honestly, it's more like when you look behind the scenes and stuff like that. And but technically, there are some elements that would count as a piece of lost media in here. Well, not necessarily not lost media, but a lot of the stuff that they did to make this movie, apparently they put it in the box, and to this day, nobody knows what happened to that box. So there is like this one box that's floating around somewhere that holds a lot of production material in order to create Twice Upon a Time.
Yeah, that kind of seems to end up being a lot of stories of like lost media where it's not like someone has it in the vault, it's that someone put it somewhere and we don't know where the masters are. And there's like this Mickey Mouse parody Mickey Mouse wartime Vietnam War thing where for years and years it was lost. It was easily readily available and people remembered watching it all the time. And then once the advent of the internet came out, no one could seem to finding it until eventually someone just found it in a scrap bin of film reels.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. It's not a real Disney product, but it's the one where like
Mickey... it's not a real Disney product. It
was
like
okay, I know exactly what you're talking.
Someone made it for like a student film, and it was like a Vietnam War protest thing.
Yeah, it's like Mickey signed
like
up
very,
for
very limited animation.
Yeah, it's like Mickey signed up for war. He's going to Vietnam, and then suddenly, oops, Mickey's dead.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I remember seeing that one. Of course. Yeah, but technically, this thing, it's not necessarily lost media, but honestly, I just find it to be like, it's honestly kind of like the definition of a hidden gem of animation, where in here you actually have a lot of material. Like the movie itself is very fascinating, but also what happened behind the scenes is a real fascinating story, like how they made the film, many of the production troubles, and how George Lucas was also involved to help create this film. Like, it's interesting how they really connect the dots in there, and especially the fact that we also do have a lot of people in here that would later on have prominent careers. Like, we had, like, Henry Selick is in this film also. Like, he's an animator, and he made an appearance. And also, I think it was David Lynch who was in the, like, he also worked in this film, and they were actually butting heads. Like, they were not good friends in there.
Okay, so in the chat, we got a whole lot of people talking about A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants, which is the unofficial SpongeBob mockumentary that was never released. So
I think I might have heard about that
story
one.
for you guys out there. It's basically what happened is that someone came up with an idea of, I want to have some lucky fan ends up winning this contest to spend a day with SpongeBob SquarePants, and this was going to be them going through that day. And they made a mock-up DVD cover, sent it to Regal Films to see if maybe they could end up producing it. Regal Films made a whole bunch of other unofficial documentaries, mockumentaries, like A Day with Justin Bieber. And I think there was one thing with like the Jonas Brothers. And they made the mistake of like actually making an Amazon page for it. So then everyone was like, wait, what is this movie? I think I've seen this. Did I actually see this? Hey, this looks very, very interesting. And there's like so many different things about, like, someone came up with, what happened is that around the same time, just coincidentally, someone made a YouTube video called A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants, where it was just this song that they made that they thought, hey, this kind of sounds like SpongeBob. So I'm just going to call it A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants. And there's also this tweet of someone that said, hey, I just saw A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants, but they were just mistakenly referring to the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And it never actually got made. And we found this after years and years of searching. But the creator did end up making like 5 pages, and he released that online.
Really? So does it actually exist, or?
No, it doesn't actually exist.
So this is a case of like, is it a case of like that Shazam movie that everybody thought they saw, but it never actually existed?
Sort of. There's only a couple of people that thought that they saw it, but they didn't actually end up seeing it. And no, the pan pizza thing, that was just a joke that he did where he looked up, I think it was like a Wood Rocket porn parody of SpongeBob.
Oh God, yeah, no, yeah, Wooden Rocket. Oh God,
yeah,
God, that
Mr.
thing.
Orange, that was his name, and it's a very, very interesting story, and that's one of the things that really kind of drew me into Lost Media, is where you'd get these, and yeah, the Blame It on George video about 40 pieces of lost animated and children's entertainment. That's really kind of what got me into it, because it was just very, very interesting to like go down the rabbit hole and see like, oh, here's a bunch of things that kind of fell through the cracks, and other things that, oh, they never got published. Or you also got the Jerry Lewis film, The Day the Crown Cried, where it's a story about a clown in Nazi Germany that had to entertain kids in concentration camps.
Oh,
and
right.
It apparently exists, but
Well,
Jerry Lewis is so embarrassed by it that he says, I am never going to let anyone see this ever. And there's only been like 4 people that have seen it.
Well, technically, like, I think, what is it called? Like, there's a movie a lot like that nowadays. I think it's called Life is Beautiful or something like that. Like, it sounds a lot like that.
It might be, but like when I first heard about it, I'm like, well, that's a very, very interesting concept. And like at the time I was learning about like all the different World War II movies, and like I've been watching things like Schindler's List and I think The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. So I'm like, oh, that sounds very, very interesting. I'd like to see it. And then it's just like, there's no way to actually see it. And like learning about it, and one of the top guys in The Simpsons actually saw it, and he said, yeah, it's a really, really horrible movie.
Oh, wow.
Just like, it's just poorly made in terms of being horrible. Like, think The Room or Troll 2 bad.
Oh, okay. So it's not like poor taste bad. It's just legitimate, this movie sucks bad.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. Oops, excuse me. There is
the Mickey Sex cartoon that you're talking about, that's actually up for debate on the Lost Media community of whether or not that actually exists. It's very rumored, but there's no real information about it. But okay, enough talking about Lost Media. Let's get to the final thing that you want to talk
would be another one that well, there is another one that is a Lost Media. But the thing is that with this one, this is honestly...
Guys, maybe I can have AniMat on some other time and on my podcast where we can just ramble about lost media someday.
Yeah, maybe. But our next one that we have, this is honestly something even I've never heard about. I'm honestly surprised this actually does exist. And oddly enough, it does sound a little bit familiar because it does sound like another movie. And what I'm talking about is something called Rock Odyssey, which is an animated film in the late 70s made by Hanna-Barbera. And it's honestly very fascinating because because at the time, Hanna-Barbera really wanted to try hard to create a movie. They really want to try to create a feature film to really expand their possibilities, and especially considering that it is during the 70s, it was a bit of a low point during Hanna-Barbera's time, especially like the only thing that was worthwhile that they were running was just like Scooby-Doo reruns and also the Smurfs, and that was pretty much it. And maybe like a few other cartoons, but it really wasn't like during the 60s or the 50s where like it was at the height of their career. So they wanted to try to expand onto feature films, and one of them that they tried to do was something called Rock Odyssey. And in Animation Magazine, it states here that, where is the story? Okay, yeah. The story follows Laura, who is seeking love throughout the first 4 decades of rock history, and goes through several incarnations as she does so. Her journey is narrated by Scatman Crothers in the form of a living jukebox. So it's kind of like a love story where she goes into a little bit of the history of rock music. But oddly enough, as you guys probably know, I am currently working on Animation Look Back Ralph Bakshi, and like just listening to the story itself, it does remind me a lot of the movie American Pop, because that is
Same here. That's what I thought when I heard that. I'm just like, oh, that sounds almost exactly like American Pop.
It is in a way, except like this one tries to go more in a love angle. But
I also kind of got some vibes from Heavy Metal and Heavy Metal 2000, because even though those were like just sort of short vignette, 30-minute stories, they were all based on like, oh, I've got to get the girl, find love sort of a deal.
Yeah, it's true. Except with this one, like, well, you don't really get, like, even when you look at some of the clips, because there is actually this little music video that they put here called In the Dark Land, Run, 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 and we do see a lot of clips of Rock Odyssey, which oddly enough also starts out with some clips of Yellow Submarine, oddly enough. And, like, yeah, like, you do get a little bit of that adult vibe that's in there, but you don't actually see some sex scenes or stuff like that, which, in a way, like, it is a little bit disappointing because, like, admittedly, the girl in there, she is kind of cute. I have to admit.
Well, in the article, they do say that they had to take out some of the raunchier bits in order to get available for TV.
Oh, really? So
yeah,
there are some raunchier bits.
It was like a paragraph. It was like the last paragraph or the second to the last paragraph. They said there that they had to cut out some scenes and they replaced it with stock footage of Yogi Bear for the TV release.
Oh, so that's what it's about, right? Oh god, like I can imagine like the girl is getting sexy. It's like, you ready to get it on? And then suddenly, boo-boo, let's go get some picnic baskets.
That would be an amazing cut of that, and I don't think it probably got like Ralph Bakshi level of sexy, but it's probably just like she was dancing scantily clad, but
probably,
because it was the 70s, you can't show that on TV.
Yeah, it's true. But admittedly, like looking into the clips, considering that it is from Hanna-Barbera, it is shocking the quality of the animation. It's actually like really smooth. And yeah, like
I know, because everyone just thinks of them as just like single mouth movement and nothing else on screen is moving.
Yeah, like, hold on, I'm gonna cut to a part. Where do we see the girl? Like, okay, yeah, we do see some, like, yeah, we see some clips here, like, this is something that normally, at the most, if you see this from Hanna-Barbera, it would be something that they would only use for their intros. Like, this is only available, this would only be available in their opening, but you see how the movements are smooth, and even, like, when you see them running away or something like that, like, hold on, yeah, like, right over here, and, like, you see her running away from, like, the cops with the siren heads and stuff like that. Yeah, and then
it's just like they also pointed out that it's, like, the flowing hair, where you just don't see that in Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, and also, like, I'm at the part...
They might move the hand a little bit, or you just kind of see the mouths moving, and it's the same background repeating over and over again. But with this, like, it's like, no.
Yeah, and like right
It's all
here,
fluid.
yeah, and right over here, I'm seeing something else that's also really amazing for Hanna-Barbera is that, like, you see the two characters that are just moving along, like, you see them rotating as they were hugging each other. It was really quite impressive, and it's surprising that to see the full potential of Hanna-Barbera, it's amazing to see them how they were like, okay, let's get serious and actually produce some real good animation to go, like, full on 24 frames a second and see what happens, and it was quite impressive.
24 frames per second, where we're actually animating frames, not cells.
And not reusing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. It was quite impressive to watch. So maybe you know a little bit more about Rock Odyssey. Like, has it been fully released in its completion, or is it considered lost?
I don't know. I haven't really come across that one yet, but based on what they said in the article, there's not been a DVD release of it. Chances are there's not been a VHS release of it. I haven't done much searching for it, but if there has been a VHS release of it and it got like enough notoriety, you'd find at least more clips of it online, and they'd be able to do things where it wasn't just like this sort of mashup of here's a bit of information and a couple of clips here and there. We'd probably see a whole lot more on it.
Yeah,
so chances are it's still lost.
Yeah, that could
it sounds like what only happened is that they showed it once, maybe twice on ABC, and then that was it back in the 70s before everyone had VCRs and whatnot. And then in order to make that music video, someone like bought the rights for just that clip. I know that that's kind of what happened with what's a Star Wars documentary where they were able to get the rights from Lucasfilm in order to use official clips of the Star Wars holiday special in the movie, and then they ended up actually not doing that.
Ah, right. I see what you mean.
So that's kind of what I would see is the story of what happened with that music video, if this is sort of like all that we have seen of it.
That could be a strong possibility. I mean, like, and especially if this is the first time that I've heard about something like this happening, then it could be lost. Like, I can try, like, go online, like, go on YouTube and see if, like, anything would be uploaded in there. Hold on, let me just double check. So I'm on YouTube. Let me just write down Rock Odyssey Hanna-Barbera. See if there is a possibility if they would actually have it there.
Okay, and right now I'm checking the Lost Media Wiki to see if there's an article on it.
Looks okay. It could possibly be fully uploaded, but there's this one YouTuber, The Reigns 1997, posted a bunch of posted Rock Odyssey separate, like in separate clips, and also it's said to be sped up. So that could be a possibility. Well, I just want to see.
So if that's the case, then that's probably one of those things of kind of like the original, the Magic Roundabout version that we ended up calling Dougal in North America.
Yeah, that could be
where
the case.
It exists, it's out there, and it's possible to be viewed, but it's just so hard to actually come by a clean version of it because people have to keep doing all the stupid things that we gotta do in order to get around copyright.
Yeah, I mean, like this one, it looks like what the person did is that, like, he took Rock Odyssey, cut it into 5 different parts, and sped it up. So, like, you'd have to get all the, like, download all those videos, like, put them back in their normal speed, and just watch it from there. So that could be the case with Rock Odyssey. But, like, yeah, it is, like, it is debatable, I guess, if it is considered a lost piece of media. But, yeah, it is something.
Well, I mean, this article wasn't necessarily on lost media. It was on rare, unforgotten media.
Mm-hmm. So maybe there are some things that do exist floating around of Rock Odyssey. Maybe, like, there is, like, a way to actually fully see it, but it's, like, extremely rare.
Yeah, no, I'll look in, like, websites like Dailymotion and whatnot, those are a little easier to find them.
Yeah, that is true.
But
that
yeah,
is
it looks
true.
like it's out there and it's somewhere.
Yeah.
It's just not easy to find.
Yeah, and also, you mentioned to me, by the way, there is one thing that you want to mention to me regarding a lost piece of media that's recently been found, right?
Oh yeah, the Book of Pooh. It was one of the early Playhouse Disney TV shows, which was a puppet animation that was based off Winnie the Pooh. And the crazy thing about it is that there were some episodes that got VHS releases and were like on compilation tapes that cut out some of the bits that'd be like coming up next or last time that you would see, because they were like trying to condense it to make a coherent story. But recently we found pretty much all the episodes. Now it's just one episode remains completely lost, and there's two other episodes where we found the video, but one is dubbed in German and one is dubbed in Italian, I believe.
So, like, you didn't fully found them all in English.
Yeah, it's not completely found, but bringing attention to it, let me pull up a Lost Media Wiki article on it, and then I can drop it in the chat.
Yeah, hold on, like, in the chat, like, in my chat with me, or, like, on the chat on Twitch, or?
I'll drop it in the Twitch chat.
Oh, okay.
I also sent it to you through our chat before, so you should be able to pull it up there if you want to get it.
Hold on. Yeah, can you actually resend that for me? That would actually help.
Okay.
I just want to check, unless you already did it here. I don't know.
Oh, I already did. You just got to scroll up a couple of messages.
Hold on. Oh, wait. Oh, no, it's on the other thing, actually. No, that's not it. No, that's not it. Oh.
Okay, well, I'll resend it in our Hangout.
Yeah, it'll be bad. Yeah, oh, no, on oh, right, on that side, right. Right, I mean, like, I have to go through all that and stuff like that.
Well, I'm dropping it in the main chat right now.
Alright, oh, I see. Yeah. The Book of Pooh, my god, what a weird name.
Yeah, well, it's based off the Book of Pooh.
Yeah. I mean, like, you're making it sound like it's, like, religious but also weird at the same time. The Book of Pooh.
Well, if you actually watch the series, it's a very weird series.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
is it like similar to Welcome to Pooh Corner in a way?
Yeah, it's kind of similar to Welcome to Pooh Corner, which is another Lost series that I think we're a lot farther behind, still have a lot of work to do in order to find more of it. But this one, they don't have like the crazy weird eyes. It looks kind of more Muppet-like.
Oh, okay. So like they're going a little more with the puppets than actually with than that. Hold on. I think I got the link. Just got to make sure I got it right. I can't even open it for some reason. All right. Hold on. Can I open it? Nah, okay. Maybe not. Oh well. No, but yeah, so I think with that said, I guess in the meantime, while we wait, I want to know in the chat right over here, what do you guys think about the lost pieces of media, or the rare pieces of media that we have found? What are your thoughts about some of the stuff that we have discussed, including The Thief and the Cobbler, Twice Upon a Time, and also Rock Odyssey? Are you guys interested in stuff like this, like lost media, or no? Like, I want to know, what do you guys think about like some of these recent discoveries? I want to know.
Oh yeah, one person in the comments section brought up Disney's Doug, which, fun fact about that was lost for a little while because it never received an official release.
Disney's Doug?
Then, yeah, but because it was popular enough, there were enough people that recorded it. We got people that are interested in The Thief and the Cobbler. They've been interested in for a long time. Twice Upon a Time deserves a documentary in and of itself. But I mean, we already kind of got that with with Animation Look Back.
Well, yeah, I kind of filled that little void there, so that could technically be a thing. Yeah. What is your favorite scene from The Thief and the Cobbler? Mine would have to be hands down when the thief stole the shoe from the cobbler, and he has to run to go and chase it. Like, that is some phenomenal animation there.
That's my favorite too. It's the best.
Yeah, it's like the best one because it uses optical illusions in the animation, and especially like that's one of the animated bits that is actually extremely well made.
Yeah, and it's just like the way in which everything works, and like how you got the backgrounds are like just two colors, but the way in which the lines interact with each other, it gives it that weird perception of depth. But at the same time, it does not feel depth because you can see the contours and they don't interact with it in the same way that you would get that depth.
Yeah, exactly. So that could be the major thing about like what works about that scene in particular. It's really that beautiful.
Yeah, and it's also just the way in which the camera works with the animation, because like it's very flowing and moving, and it does the things that you just can't do with cameras in real life.
Yeah, not just in real life, but like technically it's amazing that they would even do that with a hand-drawn animated feature. I mean, like they would have that no problem like with what was it? Like they could do that no problem with computer animation, but in hand-drawn it really is tricky, and the way they pulled it off is beautiful.
And it's like even when you don't see that nowadays, even with like 2D animated things. Like I just saw a movie Fireworks where they did a scene where they were like going up a spiral staircase, and it was done through like a first person perspective, and the entire movie is like 2D anime style, but that scene just alone was done in 3D CGI.
Exactly. Like nowadays there's a lot of ways that people can cheat on it, but like the fact that it was just hand drawn at the time, it really adds that magic into the thief.
Yeah, well, it was like the director, names escape me right now, but he meant for this to be his masterpiece, and like
Richard
masterpiece
Williams,
in the classical sense of this is my demonstration of my mastering of the craft.
Yeah.
And few people will be able to even come close to replicating this level of ability, similar to that of like Michelangelo's David and The Last Supper and the Sistine Chapel.
Exactly.
Like those were done by the great Renaissance artists of their time because it was meant to just show how much they've mastered their craft. And that's what The Thief and the Cobbler was supposed to be. But it just went on too long that he was not able to complete it. So then the studio came in and just said, okay, we're just going to throw some bits in to finish it and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, exactly. Which they ended up just trying to copy what Disney has done at the time, and it's now like kind of like thrown in the trash, sadly.
Okay, so to answer your question, Jeannie, about Disney Doug, I don't know who necessarily owns the entire name of Doug, but I know Nickelodeon owns the Nickelodeon version of Doug, and I know Disney still owns the Disney version of Doug.
Well, I think nowadays, I think I can answer that one. I think nowadays it is still Disney that currently owns Doug as a franchise in itself, because I remember seeing Funko Pops, and like when they would feature Doug, they would still be branded as Disney.
All right. Well, I know that Nickelodeon Viacom still owns like at least partially the Nickelodeon version of it, because whenever you get the Nickelodeon DVDs, it's released as a Nickelodeon movie.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's a similar case to what happened with Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, where like part of it was owned by Universal, but then like you got also the aspect of Walt Disney and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a similar case. So I think with that said, I think we're pretty much good with all this lost media and talk and stuff like that. So now let us go ahead and we shall move on to the grand finale. And my God, do we have
I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, this is quite a controversial piece, actually, because whenever this article would come up, I would see a lot of like butting heads in this case, because people are absolutely polarized about this. Like even when I released it onto my social media and brought it up, like, again, it brought up a lot of different polarizing opinions. So with that said, it is great timing, actually, considering that we do have the release of Hotel Transylvania 3 right now. And, okay, I'm sure, like, people listening to this or watching this, like, they're probably aware of my thoughts on Hotel Transylvania. What about yours, Pokey?
But I bet they're not aware of my thoughts.
Yeah, that's what I was about to transition to that. What do you think of the Hotel Transylvania films?
I like the Hotel Transylvania series, and Pokemon Band episodes, we can talk about that some other time.
That's a whole other story.
Hotel
right
Transylvania
over there.
3. Hotel Transylvania series, I saw Hotel Transylvania, the first one, on FXX, and I thought that was really, really funny. I enjoyed the fluid, wacky animation, the squash and stretch, the somewhat paper-thin story because they're trying to really focus on the jokes and gags. And I really enjoyed the chemistry that Mavis and Johnny had. And then I saw Hotel Transylvania 2 in second run theater where it was like $1 to go see the movie, and I enjoyed that again too because I saw it and I really liked how they brought up the aspect of, is Mavis and Johnny's son a monster or a human? And it's one of those things of like, it's kind of like Twilight but better because this one's actually funny and entertaining, and you got just, I enjoy Drac and the Drac Pack and just the crazy antics to it. But then again, I also kind of enjoy Adam Sandler movies.
Okay, well, that makes sense. I mean, like, technically with Hotel Transylvania in general, they, like, debatably, they are Adam Sandler movies in general.
They're Adam Sandler movies, basically. It's just that it's
a cartoon.
He does some more slapstick to it, and he tries to be more of a father, and he doesn't have, like, the hot co-star lead actress lady that he's falling in love with or in love with as his wife.
Well, technically, that is the third one right now, which you have yet to see, right?
Correct.
All right, so...
If I wasn't doing the podcast, I'd probably be seeing it right now.
Oh, then I am doing my job then. Yes, but anyways, let's go right ahead into what I am talking about. Is apparently this little article here from Cinema Express, where they had a little exclusive interview with the director, Genndy Tartakovsky. And what really sounded the alarms and what really caught a lot of people's attention is actually the last comment or the last question that they brought up, which is actually revolving around what critics are saying about Hotel Transylvania, because the thing is with critics, they generally don't give it as much of a favorable review as much as audiences do, because like the fans of it, of course, they love it a lot more than what the critics are saying or what ratings that they would give it. So the question that they would bring up, saying that the Transylvania films are rather curious in how they've won audiences adulation despite not really
Adoration,
winning.
probably.
Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. Adulation despite not really winning the critics over. Now, what Genndy Tartakovsky responded is that he says, I think it's because the audiences consumes the films as they are meant to be. Critics are looking to draw parallels between animated films and viewing, say, the Transylvania films through prisms of other great work. These films must be enjoyed for what they are and not criticized for what they are not. I think this explains the discord between critics and audiences. And from there, like the Hotel Transylvania films themselves, people are really split. It's either they are siding with Genndy Tartakovsky, mostly going after the critics, mostly viewing them that they are the ones that are wrong in this case, or a lot of people would side more with the critics, or they wouldn't side with Genndy Tartakovsky and pretty much call out on his BS in this case. So, Pokey, I want to know what your end, how do you feel about this situation? Because, like, basically the whole summary, basically what's in the title is that what they're saying is Hotel Transylvania director Genndy Tartakovsky, critics missed the point on the Transylvania films. How do you feel on this position, and how do you feel about what Genndy Tartakovsky is saying here?
Well, I agree with it, and that's why I'm really glad that you invited me on the podcast for this one, because we're probably going to have some disagreement on that.
Well, this is going to be interesting.
There's a lot of things where it's like, even with the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatball series, which I know you despise, but I love them. I think that's just hilarious the way in which I saw it, and it's like the squash and stretch, it's just the way in which everything is timed, and that's what I see with like the Genndy Tartakovsky movies, where yeah, they're not really well made critically, but they are really, really funny in that regards. And they're just trying to be a 90-minute Saturday morning cartoon. And it brings me back to watching the Saturday morning cartoons because I don't know about you, but I still watch a whole lot of different cartoons and whatnot. And you don't get that anymore. You don't get the Ren Stimpies or the Rocko's Modern Life or the Cow and Chickens or what's another good squash and stretch cartoon? Real Monsters. That had some squash and stretch in it, I think. But yeah, you don't, or Marsupilami or Schnookums and Mead or what was it? There's a couple of other Disney afternoon cartoons where you just don't get that level of squash and stretch anymore. And that's what you get with like the Hotel Transylvania movies. And it reminds me of that happy time. And that's basically what I think you got to go and watch these movies as. Where, yeah, it's not a feature-length film, but it's not like meant to be a feature-length film. It's meant to be kind of just a 90-minute cartoon.
But honestly, like, I guess like what you're saying is that they should be like mostly just mainly to just be viewed on what it's trying to do as its own simple thing in a way, is what you're trying to say.
So it kind of brings up like the whole problem and critiques and criticisms that came with Pokemon the movie I Choose You, where you had a whole bunch of people that were complaining about like how Misty and Brock weren't there and how it wasn't a beat for beat retread of the first season of the anime. It's like, yeah, because it wasn't trying to be that way. It wasn't meant to be about Brock and Ash and Misty going on trying to help the Diglets go through the deal with the people that want to build the tunnels. It's like, yeah, they're going to bring in the 7th generation Pokemon. They're going to add in new rivals. They're going to be its own story because it's trying to tell its own story. And they're also were complaining about how like, oh, they're, and then there's also people that are complaining about like how it's just such a simple story and like how it's like, oh, it's like it's meant for children. It's like, yes, it's meant for children. Pokemon, while it appeals to adults because they've been with it throughout all the time, it's a series that's primarily meant for kids. So of course this writing's going to be simple. And if you look at a whole bunch of other great movies, technically the writing is simple. You look at Toy Story. What's Toy Story about? It's about two toys that get separated from their owner and they just try to find him again. And they're just next door, but how did they get back next door? We don't know. But it's still a great, entertaining story. And that's kind of what I got from Pokemon, the movie I Choose You. And there's also like, oh, well, they brought back Ash again. Why did they bring back Ash again? Sorry, spoilers. But it's like, yeah, they kind of need to do that because otherwise you're going to lose. You can't depress kids in a kids movie. You can depress them to an extent, like what's his name? Don Bluth said, where take kids to a horrible place, but at the end, you got to end on something happy. And that's what you got to do. With Pokemon the movie, I Choose You, they needed to end on something happy because it is a kids movie. They can't end on the crazy downer that you'd want as an adult.
No, I do see what you mean. I do see what you mean. If I just may put my little piece onto the situation, it's just what I feel uncomfortable with this kind of answer is that honestly the way that I see it is mostly like my biggest issue with like how Genndy Tartakovsky responded to this and this whole question in general is just the fact that it really is trying to frame it in a way that critics are quote unquote the problem. It's like, oh no, the movie, no, there's nothing wrong with the movie. It's critics that are the ones that are wrong, that are not getting it or that they don't understand. And the way that people would criticize Hotel Transylvania in a way, I feel like nowadays there are two massive misconceptions that people have when it comes to criticizing Hotel Transylvania. And number one is actually the factor that it has Adam Sandler in it. Because a lot of people say that apparently the reason why Hotel Transylvania is not necessarily getting as much praise as something like a Disney film or a Pixar film is because, oh, it's Adam Sandler. And because it's an Adam Sandler movie, then people would go after it. That's not necessarily the case. A great recent example is actually a movie called The Mayowitz Family. And that is actually a highly praised movie. Critics were adoring it, and especially they were giving the most praise towards Adam Sandler, saying that it was his best performance that he has delivered in a very long time, or even some of the best performance in his career. So critics are open to give Adam Sandler a chance if he can bring out something good, like in the Mayowitz Family. But if he doesn't bring out something good, then, well, like, we can't just blame the fact that we put in a prejudice that, oh, it's Adam Sandler, so we automatically put it bad. So that's not necessarily true. And the second thing that I feel like is a major issue is actually the fact that a lot of people say, like, oh, well, you can't really compare Hotel Transylvania to a Disney or a Pixar film. What do you expect? And that's another misconception, because that's the thing. People don't actually, like, when critics are reviewing Hotel Transylvania, they don't necessarily do that. I mean, critics will make little comparisons to prove their point onto some aspects, but we're not fully expecting, like, greatness or something like that. We are judging it on its own thing, and sometimes, like, it wouldn't resonate, and we have to judge them as movies. And as movies, they don't necessarily work out, especially with the thinly plot lines. And in fact, there are a few comments that on Facebook, when it was actually mentioned about this, there was one golden one, which I will mention, from Allison Gayer. My God, she actually nailed this in this subject right over here. So let me just read it. Now, she states that I find it interesting how he says that critics and audiences are viewing the films differently. I honestly love these movies for the monsters and the wackiness, but they are no mean spectacular films. Critics are looking at films more critically, as their title suggests, while audiences just want to have a good time. It's ridiculous for him to say that critics miss the point when they know exactly what they look for. So this is the thing that I really hate the most about this, is that really this is just the fact that it just opens the door for people to go and attack critics just because they don't have an opinion that is similar to theirs, and trying to frame it in a way that, oh, well, critics are the problem, not audiences. And the thing is, critics deal with that crap all the freaking time. Like, we do see that happen, like, whenever, like, a movie bombs or a movie doesn't get great reviews and stuff like that. Like, critics often get attacked by filmmakers because they're just, like, that's the thing. All they're doing is just their jobs to just review, review movies and stuff like that. And I mean, like, sadly, in this case right over here, it is sadly quite effective that, like, now that Genndy Tartakovsky is mentioning this, that people are going after critics just for freaking doing their jobs, because there are people out there that do think that Genndy Tartakovsky would be immune to criticism, that you can't criticize someone like Genndy Tartakovsky or the works like Hotel Transylvania. And even when I posted on my social media mentioning that there is an issue with what he's talking about, I received a lot of attacks, like, no joke. Some people are quite
I remember
brutal.
the first review of Hotel Transylvania that you did, and then the next one you had the riot scene.
Yeah, okay, well, that was unexpected, but I don't just mean the reviews in general, but I mean, like, posting this article onto social media this week. Like, there were people that were flat out attacking me for even suggesting that Genndy Tartakovsky is not a perfect filmmaker, or that the Hotel Transylvania films are not great. And it really does shine another example in the toxicity of the cartoon community, that they would be so entitled that they would go and flat out attack others just for having a different opinion. I mean, it is seriously brutal sometimes. Like, for some people, they feel like you're not allowed to attack Genndy Tartakovsky, or else, like, you would feel the wrath of some people on the cartoon communities. You understand what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah, I get where you're going at that. I think the problem, though, is that you're sort of conflating the way in which people are perceiving his words versus what he's actually saying. Because I don't see him as, like, saying that critics are the problem, critics are attacking me. It's just that, no, critics aren't necessarily watching the movie and looking at the movie the way that I intended it to be looked at. And therefore, they're coming out with sort of the wrong perception of what I'm going for. And that's when people are saying that he's saying, oh, the critics are coming after me. It's like, no, the critics aren't coming after you. He's just saying that critics don't get it, for lack of a better term.
But that's the thing that's honestly the thing though, but he doesn't, but that's the thing with Genndy, he doesn't have another option. Because the thing is, I do get that, like, what he's trying to do is not necessarily a movie. Like, he's trying to technically make more, like, cartoons or something like that. He's making more of a cartoon than a movie. But the thing is that they're movies. You cannot escape that. It's a fact. So we have to judge it as a movie. And if you're not necessarily making a movie out of it, then don't be surprised if people are not going to get it and they're not going to view it as well as you would want it to be.
Yeah, and I think that kind of comes down to it where it's just like, when I review movies, which is small, humble plug, everyone, I also do things. I have the Pokematic podcast, just Google it. But when I review movies, like, perfect example recently is I reviewed Freddy Got Fingered. And it's one of those movies where, yeah, in terms of it being a movie, it is absolutely horrible. But I found myself enjoying it because it kind of reminds me of, like, the irreverent, strange, bizarre meme humor that I spend so much time consuming. So from that aspect, I consider it entertaining and good. And that's kind of where I go with movies, and where I think a whole lot of people in the audience consider where they rank movies of not so much is it like well-crafted story and super engaging characters. It's just, did I enjoy it?
Yeah, well, no, I do get what you mean, but that's the thing, because as critics, that's kind of our job. That's what we have to do. We have to judge things as a movie. And I mean, if we're going to go into the theater and we're going to see a movie, then that's what we're expecting. We're expecting to go and check out a movie. So, you know, honestly, what I feel overall about this situation is just like, I just hate it when people go after critics just because they're just doing their job. Like, critics are not, they're not doing anything necessarily wrong. That's just my problem with it. Like, the way that, like, even with the way that Genndy is trying to say in this case, it's just like, you know, we're just doing what we're doing. So I don't know where.
Yeah, and I say that's not like, he's not necessarily trying to attack the critics. For some reason the page isn't loading for me, so I can't like see exactly how he expressed it. Or okay,
hold on,
here it is.
hold on. Oh, okay, you got it. I was about to.
Yeah, I got it. So I think it's because audiences and critics consume films. Audiences consume films as they're meant to be. Critics are looking to draw parallels, viewing, say, Transylvania through the prisms of other great works. They're meant to be enjoyed for what they are, not criticized for what they are not. And that explains the discord. And what I think how I perceive that is that he's saying that he's not necessarily saying the critics are wrong. It's just that this is why I think the critics don't like my movies.
That could be possible.
I mean, that's mainly, it's just because I don't necessarily consider myself a critic. I just consider myself a man of the audience that has a review show.
Okay, yeah, I do get what you mean.
So it's hard for me to really kind of put myself in sort of like the critic's shoes, but I have been on the receiving end of, well, you just don't get it, and it's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And I've just kind of learned to just say, okay, whatever, then I just don't get it. It's not going to change my opinion.
Yeah.
Perfect example is the Rocky Horror Show. I absolutely hate that. And people tell me, like, no, you just don't get it. Here's what makes it good. I'm just like, that does not make it good. That just is the way in which you make it tolerable. And it's not my fault that you can't see all the problems that it has because you found a way to make it entertaining.
Okay, yeah, I do understand, which, by the way, on the sideline, I love Rocky Horror Picture Show, to be very honest.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a theater kid. I mean, for God's sake, I grew up, I've done years of theater, so I mean, like, it eventually happens that you go in through, like, a major Rocky Horror phase, so,
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of did theater as well, but there's just something about it where maybe it's the fact that it's just, like, so much penises in your face. I'm just like, I don't want that. That does not appeal to me.
I don't
No,
know.
that's
Just
really
the way,
all I can
just
think
take that
about
out.
it.
Can we just take that out of context? I mean, I'm sorry. That just sounds flat out hilarious. It's like I don't know. Just having all this penis on me is just not that appealing.
I said I'd bring the crazy, and here I did.
That's true, dude. No, but no, well, the thing is, I guess what I worry about, you do have a point that maybe like that's not what Genndy is saying, but like I guess what I am worried about is how others could perceive it. Is mostly like they could in a way take it out of context, thinking that, well, since I enjoy it, maybe I'm the one that's doing it right, you know? Like they could take the words of Genndy Tartakovsky and kind of skew it in a way to make it look like they feel in a better position than what critics are, in a sense.
Yeah, and that's just sort of the thing about it, is just like, you just got to accept that everyone has different opinions and people look at things differently, and you just got to maybe try to explain yourself and just not take it as a personal attack.
Yeah.
Someone says that Rocky Horror is great. I don't see it as like a reflection of themselves. I see it maybe as a bit of a reflection of their taste in movies, but I don't see it as a reflection of them as a person.
Yeah, exactly. And the same with
people
you.
tell me that people look at me and say, when I say that, oh, I enjoy Freddy Got Fingered, yeah, there's probably going to be people that look at me like, what is wrong with you? But if you just listen to me explaining why, well, you might be able to say, okay, I guess I can see it that way, but I still don't like it.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's how it comes with this. Like, I get why you don't like the Clyde with a Chance of Meatballs movies, but that doesn't change the fact that I love them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the same with you. Like, I know you like the Hotel Transylvania films. I know you like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, but I'm not going to judge you for it. And I mean, at the end of the day, they are just movies. Like, they are just movies. So really,
yeah,
like, it doesn't
it's just a cartoon.
Yeah, it doesn't fully reflect upon who that person actually is. And I mean, like, even when, like, I know there are still a lot of people out there that might still need to learn that lesson, considering that, like, even when
definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I've released my Hotel Transylvania 3 review, and there are still a lot of people, and this is starting to become a recent trend that I'm starting to look at. Like, this is starting to become a thing where now more people, they don't just mention about my quote on that mythical bias against Sony, but then they would also bring up Illumination Entertainment, oddly enough. Like, those people who are mad at me for the way I criticize Sony, they're really mad of the fact that I also don't give that treatment to Illumination Entertainment and to the Despicable Me films, oddly enough.
Well, that's because Illumination Entertainment, there's a lot more to, like, dislike on them technically. They're just very good.
Is there really?
Well, as I hate everything pointed out in his review of Sing, they like reuse the same alligator model, the exact same alligator model, like 6 or 7 times. Backgrounds and whatnot, they're very, very simplistic, but they do a decent job at writing stories and being able to engage you in such a way that you look at them and say, like, okay, yeah, I can enjoy that. But like with Despicable Me, the first time I saw like trailers for, I'm like, that looks absolutely horrible. Just like the way in which Gru's nose was, and like just the minions. But then after I saw the movie, I'm like, okay, I actually enjoyed it because it's not about the animation quality and the designs of the characters. It's about telling a story about Gru and about this bad guy.
Yeah, they're being more animated films.
Yeah,
they're actually being movies and stuff. And also, like I guess another reason, like, why people really don't like them, it could also be because of the popularity. Because Illumination right now, it is the most powerful and strongest animation studio that's not Disney or Pixar. I mean, they're the only animation studios right now that have 2 animated films that crossed $1 billion at the box office, and the only one that both came from the same franchise.
Yep.
So it could also
and
be
it's also
like
just sort of like the thing in that, like, maybe it's just that Illumination has figured out how to really streamline it and optimize it, and they're not just being cheap. But people will point out how much it costs to make the movies versus how much it costs to make other animated movies. And it's like they spend about like a tenth of what other animated films budget for.
Not necessarily. They do have some modest budgets. So it's around the same thing as usual, like around 80 to 60 million.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they don't like do it on a shoestring budget, but compared to like other big animated films like The Incredibles, that probably had twice the budget of them.
No, I mean nowadays, like when it comes to Disney and Pixar, they do much more. I think like on average they do like 200 million. And I mean, like, if you're and I mean, like, Sony would technically be the one who does movies on a shoestring, literally, because like we got like The Star and we got Sausage Party, which are both less than $20 million.
Was Sausage Party Sony? I thought Sausage Party was independent.
No, it was distributed by Sony Pictures. It wasn't made by Sony Animation, but it was from another studio, and Sony Pictures was the one that distributed it.
Yeah. Well. Hey, whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but yeah, like I'm not necessarily
look that much into like how much it costs to make movies versus how much they bring in, but I know that I've seen people point out the comparisons of like this is how much it costs to make Sing, this is how much it costs to make Zootopia. They're trying to sort of be the similar, but Sing costs so much less to make.
But then again, like budget doesn't necessarily mean a good thing. Like you look at last year, Captain Underpants was less than 40 million, but it's so much better than The Boss Baby, which costed like $100 million or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that it's a legitimate argument, but it's an argument that people bring up against Illumination.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot, oddly enough, there seems to be this bias against Illumination Entertainment. How is that? Why is it that not many people bring up that issue?
I mean, I saw it really kind of start up with, like, I Hate Everything and his review of Sing. That's really? Like when it really kind of started clicking for me that people didn't like Illumination.
Well, I get, like, I've started to notice a little bit with my reviews when I bring out stuff like Despicable Me and Secret Life of Pets and stuff like that, but I guess, like, I guess the hate kind of really skyrocketed with Sing and stuff like that, but yeah. But I just want to point out, like, the major irony that nowadays, whenever people bring up, like, my quote-unquote hate on Sony Animation, they also bring up about their own hate about Illumination, and how they try to say, like, Illumination is much worse than Sony.
Yeah, it's one of those things of do not cast... He who is without sin cast the first stone.
Exactly, man. Oh, man. There would be no stones cast in the cartoon community. I can guarantee you that, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we've pretty much rounded out about this whole discussion about this. I think we've put out a good summary.
Somewhat personal question. Have you ever interviewed someone that actually liked Hotel Transylvania and Clyde with a Chance of Meatballs?
Interview? Oh, I might have. I've definitely. I actually brought it. Yeah, I brought in. No, I brought in Joey Tedesco of Cartoon Palooza. I know that guy likes those movies, so I'm sure. Like I brought in a few people. Yeah, probably. You're not the first.
Well, we talked about A Day with SpongeBob SquarePants and penises in Rocky Horror.
Pretty much, yeah. No, unappealing penises on your face that you do not like. That's the thing right there. But I think overall, that's going to be pretty much it for this episode. So, Pokey, I just want to say thank you so much for coming. Also,
real quick.
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Okay, so for anyone out there who was a Vidison, I'm working on a VidMe Was Here documentary for basically here are all the faces of VidMe and what we're doing a year later that I hope to get out on December 15th, the day that VidMe shut down. So if you've got any VidMe stories that you'd like to share and tell your story with me, hit me up on Twitter, twitter.com/Pokematic, and let me know, and I'll send you the full details of what I'm looking for.
All right. Also, I just want to know, do you have any other links or do you have any other places that we can go and follow you?
Basically just Google Pokematic. Best places to find me would be like on bitlanders.com/users/Pokematic. Also, I'm also on DTube and BitChute. best place to find all of the 9 years of stuff that I've made is ccpnhdvideos.blogspot.com.
Dang, I've never heard most of these things, I swear.
Yeah, basically just Google Pokematic.
Google, just do Google.
Yeah, just Google Pokematic. I think there's only like Dr. Wily's Pokematic thingy, which is not me, but everything else is me.
Yeah, pretty much. So with all that said, I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined in, and thank you all to all who participated in the chat wall. And with all that said, oh, actually, there is one more thing that I do want to bring up, though, that there is going to be there's going to be a 2-week delay for the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And the reason why is actually because I'm going to be on vacation for that time. So I'm going to be going to California, and I'm going to go into several places, including San Francisco, Los Angeles, and also, yes, I am going to Disneyland. So I can actually officially say, I'm going to Disneyland! So from there, I'm just going to say right now, yes, there will be a 2-week
It's okay that you're doing a hiatus because we went, what? An hour longer than normal?
Yeah, pretty much. We made a real big one, actually. But on top of that, I just want to mention also that I am going to be leaving starting at July 20th, and I will be coming back on the 31st, but don't worry, I will still have some videos to be released during that time. So AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast will only return on August 4th. So that's when I'm going to be coming back, and things will return to normal. So with all that said, though, I just want to say thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!
Bye-bye!